right. So this is episode number 29. Geez, I still can't believe we've recorded 28 other episodes.
I know, time flies. It does. Yeah.
So I'm Andrew, as always. Oh, I had changed it earlier so it read that other dude, but I guess it went back to Andrew. And I'm joined by Heather. And we're here today to talk about two bands, Red Scalp and Sound Animal.
Yes.
So any context you want to provide for Red Scalp before we jump in?
No, it just this week is my pick. So Red Scalp was my pick. And I've kind of had them on my mind for a while as far as doing an episode featuring them, and finally put them on the calendar, and I'm ready to dig in to Red Scalp. So I'm excited.
All right, cool. Well, if we want to start, let me just pull up my notes. They had 4 albums that we could listen to. I realized that the first album had at least one song that would appear on a later album. So I suggested we just listen to tracks off of the second 3. So we're going to kick things off with Rituals. And we've got the 2 tracks are Tatanka and the title track Rituals.
Rituals, yeah. And Red Scalp is, they're out of Poland. And I like how they say that they love Indians and space, and they're space Indians. And Rituals came out in 2016. And Tatanka, their music is full of Native American themes. Excellent stoner doom. Really has everything that I love. Great vocals, a kick-ass bass line, incredible riffs, and powerful drumming. It's so cool when bands in other countries embrace our Native American culture. I love the mysticism and the spirituality of Native American culture, especially about healing. I think that's why I connected with this so much. Tatanka has a lot of different meanings, but it could be Sitting Bull, who was a medicine man.
I the only thing I would add is my main memory of hearing Tatanka for the first time was in the film Dances with Wolves, when Kevin Costner is trying to converse with the Native American tribe who visits with him, and he acts like a buffalo, and they say Tatanka, and that's the first time that they're able to understand each other. As for the song, definitely a killer stoner riff. I described it as like a walking riff or dominoes falling. I don't know, that's the impression that I got. If you could distill it down, I would say this was the essence of stoner metal. So a great way to kick things off. And then the next track was Rituals, which is the title track of the album.
Yeah, and this song talks about the Navajo blessing way, which is songs and prayers. It is to restore balance and harmony. One half of the ceremony is blessing way, and the other half is enemy way. The song is 19 minutes of heaven. Monumental, and I don't use that lightly. If we were to see them live, this would be the song this would be the closing song for sure. They go all out. It's really amazing. This album is so good. And I put the full album on our YouTube playlist.
Yeah, this one I said had more of a psychedelic feel. I think the previous track was more of a stoner metal feel to it. I wrote it was very chill and then blasts off into a space rock psychedelic voyage at almost 20 minutes. But I remember there used to be a diner that I would sometimes go to over Memorial Day weekend where if you put a quarter, they had like those little miniature jukeboxes at each table, and you could put in a quarter for a song. And I remember somebody once suggesting that Mountain Jam by the Allman Brothers would be the best song because it's 33 minutes long. So you could essentially have a whole lunch for one quarter. I would probably put on Rituals at 20 minutes, or I'd pony up another quarter and have to, play it twice. But it was a very soothing sort of psychedelic feel to it. But yeah, a great album to kick things off. And I'm glad that you suggested the band on the calendar. Next up was Lost Ghosts. And the first track we listened to was Lost Ghost Singular.
And Lost Ghosts was released in 2017. I really like the addition of the saxophone. It adds another really cool element to the song. And when it comes in, it's just perfect. The moodiness of it. And then the song speeds up, and then there's the addition of the organ. It's awesome when songs build like that. Red Scalp has taken another step forward with this album, and I have to mention that the album art is absolutely incredible. And actually, the album art on all their albums is really, really good.
Yeah, this one, for me, Lost Ghost was more of a doom vibe, combined with sort of a bluesy stoner feel. I know I'm combining a lot of different elements here, but that's the impression I got. And then I wrote, and a saxophone, but not like saxophone you'd hear in the band Hawkwind, not sort of like a space age, progressive sort of saxophone. This was like Jerry Rafferty Baker Street saxophone. I don't know if you're familiar with that song, Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty. Maybe.
I don't know.
It's
Maybe
it's yeah, I'm not doing it justice. But anyway, I think it's one of the great saxophone riffs. If saxophone have riffs, but it's one of the great saxophone measures of all time, to the point where I remember asking potential dates on online dating sites what they thought. There was one woman in particular who said she was a saxophone connoisseur, and I asked her where would Jerry Rafferty's Baker Street saxophone rate, and she never responded to me. But I confided in people that later on that if she did and had not said that Baker Street was number one, that we probably wouldn't have ever gotten together. So again, this probably explains why I'm still single, or maybe another piece of the puzzle falls into place. But getting back to the only reason I brought all this up, I enjoyed this saxophone. I think a lot of people would probably hear saxophone with sort of stoner doom metal and think, well, this doesn't really. But as you had mentioned about the organ and the sax, it does really complement the music. So, yeah. And Heather, I want to thank you for allowing me to go off on these tangents and not pulling the plug or holding up the please stop talking sign that I know you probably have.
Well, the really fun thing is I never know what you're gonna say. So it's like I have to keep listening because I never know what you're gonna say. And some of the stuff you talk about, I never in a million years would have ever guessed that you would ever talk about. So it's fun. It's fun.
Well, I actually was going to mention a story about how when I was boxing, um, just sort of for fun training and stuff, I did some drills with a 16-year-old Polish kid because we had met, you had said the band was from Poland, um, who he later became a professional heavyweight boxer. And he knocked me down with a jab. He wasn't even supposed to, like, we weren't even supposed to connect with each other. And it was accidental. And I just remember I fell down, my senses were sort of scrambled, and I just remember looking up and he was standing over me saying, "Why did you make me hurt you?" He was like, he was concerned and angry at the same time. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I now I feel better that I was able to shoehorn that in there. But going back to Red Scalp, um, Lost Ghost was a great jam. Uh, and then it speeds up like horses going a full gallop. So it's really cool how they included some progressive elements aside from the saxophone. And then the next track we had on Lost Ghost was With the Wind.
Yeah, and this song is almost like a ballad. There's an ethereal quality to it, and it also has some heavy parts. There's some more saxophone. The way they put it all together is just stunning. The song is a journey, and I love the soaring vocals. I love how at the end of the song, the reverb just fades away and it's just the guitars.
This song had a slow build for me. I remember being really sort of captivated by the powerful. There are instruments that are playing throughout, but it's really the powerful vocals that sort of take all the attention at the beginning, and then the instruments kick in to sort of raise the intensity to match the vocals. But I remember really sort of being captivated by the power of the vocals, and for some reason I thought of the phrase from The Simpsons where Bart and Milhouse pretend to be Huckleberry Finn and Mark Twain, not Mark, and Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, and they're getting shot with Derringer bullets that keep bouncing off them, and they say, "Man, them Derringer bullets are powerful weak." And so I kept thinking of the phrase "powerful weak" when I heard the vocals for the song, because the vocals are really powerful and the instruments started out weak, and then they, they grew in intensity. So I'm gonna definitely take my foot out of my mouth at some point, and we can keep going. Uh, all right, so then we're on our last album from Red Scalp, The Great Chase in the Sky. And
yeah, and this was released in 2019.
So the first track was Gunsinger.
Yeah, and this song is mostly instrumental. Now, it's funny that you mentioned Galloping Hooves because the way the drum beat plays, it sounds like hooves galloping across the plains. And I'm not sure what Gunsinger means. I thought it was Gunslinger at first, but then I had to go back and look at it again, and it's Gunsinger. I tried looking it up, and all I got was surnames and a game. So I'm not sure. I thought I heard some harmonica. I love how they use just different instruments to create these unique sounds.
Yeah, Gunsinger. I also thought it was Gunslinger, and it didn't help that my notes auto-corrected to Gunslinger. So it took a little maneuvering to realize, oh no, this is Gunsinger, which went back to another psychedelic feel with some cool finger picking. I felt like it would have been as an instrumental song, it would have worked really well for a movie soundtrack, like when the hero comes to town and cleans up the town, and there's definitely a lingering sense that there's going to be gunplay happening, like the sheriff is about to clean up the town. um, and there is gunfire at the end of the track, which accompanies a sample that I couldn't place, but it definitely gave you the impression of a gunslinger, even though it's Gunsinger.
Yeah.
And then the last track was Slide.
Yeah, and this starts out with a really cool bass line. Then it sounds like keyboards come in, and I like the vocal harmonies with I'm coming home, I'm going home. The sax comes in about 3/4 of the way through, and the ending, everything comes together, and the drumming is just incredible. And I put all 3 of Red Scalp's full albums on our YouTube playlist.
Yeah, this was cool. I like how the band kind of continues to spread their wings with regard to incorporating other instruments. Like this, I recognize synthesizer in this one. And this kind of had a stoner psychedelic feel to it with some cool acoustic moments. And I just wrote great ending riff. So I think all the songs were really great. I would hesitate to choose my favorite between all of them because they are all unique, even though there are elements of doom, stoner, psychedelic, space rock, within each song. But no, this was another excellent recommendation. I mean, I feel like your batting average is like 995 or something. I mean, something unheard of. You'd be a first round Hall of Famer based on your average right now.
Oh, thank you. There's
So,
lots more to come too.
oh yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. But to finish off this episode, the next band we were going to listen to was Sound Animal, who is prolific in their output. They've got a YouTube channel with a ton of videos, and then a Bandcamp page that you need to scroll through because it's got so many albums.
Yeah, and they're out of Berkeley, California, and I listened to the album Out Your Cages. It was an EP from this year. It has 4 songs on it. It's instrumental, and a lot of different instruments are used, and the music is quite avant-garde. The description for this record on Bandcamp is the brave misfit breaks through the walls made of lies, lands in the dirt, breathes its beauties, says yes to jaunty adventures, and walks tall across the desolate landscape. The music is very interesting, and each song is very different. And on their YouTube, they actually list all of the instruments that they use, and it's mind-blowing. There's instruments on there that I've never even heard of. I went onto their YouTube channel, and I picked out, I think, 4 of their videos, and I added those to our YouTube playlist.
Yeah, I think the tagline on their Bandcamp page was a genre-defying band playing a multitude of unexpected instruments. I feel like that really it would be difficult to give like an umbrella description that would fit for all of their music. Like I picked an album called Fountain, or not an album, a song, Fountain of Artificial Dreams, because it had a captivating title. And this one leaned more toward, the way I described it was it's like a symphony, where it was sort of, I felt like someone was conducting a symphony of instruments. I couldn't place all of them, but it was really layered and textured like a sound collage. And the way that I put it was sort of like, there's a song called Rock Slide by Badly Drawn Boy, and it reminded me a lot of that. If there was also methamphetamines involved, it was like a symphony and an exorcism on methamphetamines all cobbled together. But it was like it was really well done. I don't know how, it's one of those things where like a capable baker is just throwing things into a pot, mixing them together, and then puts it in the oven, and it comes out and it's like a delicious tasting cake. And I'm like, I have no idea how you did that. But I love what I'm eating. This was like, I have no idea how they're making this sound collage based on the instruments I can imagine in there. Like, I just don't know how, but they're making it work in such a way that I would definitely recommend checking out Sound Animal. It would be really difficult for either Heather or I think, to accurately describe what their sound is or what sort of genre, because they play so many different, interconnected things that they cover such a broad spectrum of music, but it was all really good. That's really all I can say is like, go check it out, get some of their music, watch their videos on YouTube. There is something for everyone, no matter what. Like I'm convinced that I could go out onto the street right now and find 5 random people, and there will be something for each of them. So definitely check out our playlist. Again, I know I always say this way too late, but hit pause, go check out Red Scalp on our playlist that Heather kindly put together. Check out Sound Animal, come back, nod your head in agreement with everything we've all said. And yeah, I mean, I that's, aside from feeling slightly embarrassed that I think I hijacked enough of the conversation to reveal my online dating foibles and the fact that I was knocked down with a jab by a 16-year-old. But I think I've probably revealed worse. So we are all good.
Well, I enjoy your stories.
Thank you. And that's, I mean, honestly, that's the only audience that I truly care about. So even though all of you out there, I care that you're watching and listening, and I hope that we are entertaining you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is just fun. So
yeah,
and we'll be back. We'll be back, of course, next week with episode 30. We're going to listen to a band called Bort.
And that's your band. That's your band.
Yes. Bort got their name. I'm assuming that they got their name from The Simpsons, where Bart looks for a license plate because he sees license plates that have people's names on them. And he can't find Bart, but he finds Bort.
Now, I don't know if I've ever heard Bort, so I'm looking forward to diving into that.
Yeah, I think I discovered them during Fistful of Faceful, and I think I played 1 or 2 of their songs. But I just remember thinking, any band that tips the cap to The Simpsons, I will definitely give them a listen. And I think that they're sort of like a stoner rock psychedelic type band. And, I think even if their name was different, I would probably still like the music. But the fact that they, did a nod to one of my favorite jokes from The Simpsons, I had to give them a chance. So thank you, all of you, for sticking with us through all of this. Thank you, Heather, as always. And this has been episode 29. We will be back next week.
Yes. Have a good week, everyone.
Have a good week.